Have you ever noticed how the individuals who react the least seem to hold the most power? Think about the strongest, most influential leaders, thinkers, and visionaries. They don't waste their energy responding to every minor thing. They don't allow their emotions to dictate their actions. Instead, they have mastered the art of self-control, and because of that, they dictate the course of their lives. Now, imagine if you possess that same ability. Picture yourself walking into any scenario, chaos, criticism, negativity, and rather than getting caught up in emotion, you remain calm, composed, and untouchable. How would that transform your confidence, your decisions, your success? By the time you finish this, you will have a powerful shift in mindset that will change the way you handle life forever. Stay until the end, because what you are about to discover will set you apart from the majority, those who react and regret, while you rise above and take charge. Most people believe that reacting immediately is a show of strength. They assume that raising their voice, arguing, or openly displaying emotion proves their power. But in reality, it's quite the opposite. When you react without thinking, you reveal your greatest weakness, your inability to control yourself. Reacting is effortless. Anyone can get angry, complain, or lash out when things don't go their way. However, it requires a different kind of person to pause, observe, and respond with purpose. That is where true strength lies. That is where power begins. Because the second you stop reacting to everything, you take control. The reason people react so quickly is simple. The mind is wired for survival. From an evolutionary standpoint, reacting to potential dangers helped humans stay alive. When facing threats, the brain activates an automatic response: fight, flight, or freeze. But in today's world, most things we react to aren't actually life-threatening. A rude comment, an insult, a difficult circumstance. None of these pose a real danger to survival, yet the brain still treats them as if they do. As a result, people react instantly without thought, and in doing so, they allow the external world to dictate their internal state. They surrender their peace, their focus, and their control to things that are not worthy of it. Observe those who command genuine respect, the individuals who walk into a room and effortlessly capture attention. They don't do so by being loud or by reacting to everything. Instead, they exude a quiet presence. They don't rush to speak. They don't argue over trivial matters. They observe, listen, and when they do speak, their words carry significance. Why? Because self-betrayal is a rare quality in a world dominated by impulsive reactions. The person who remains composed amidst turmoil becomes the most powerful presence in the room. The less you react, the more respect you earn, and the greater influence you have in any given situation. Every time you react emotionally, you are handing someone else the power to control your state of mind. If someone can easily trigger you, they can manipulate you. If they can provoke anger, frustration, or a desperate need for validation, they gain control. But when you choose not to react, everything shifts. You break the cycle. You refuse to allow external events to govern your emotions. You begin to consciously decide how you respond, rather than allowing your reactions to be dictated for you. And that is where genuine power begins. When something triggers you, take a moment before responding. Breathe. Give yourself space before saying or doing anything. The longer you wait, the more power you reclaim. Remind yourself that emotions are fleeting. Just because you feel anger or frustration doesn't mean you must act on them. Emotions are visitors, Acknowledge them, but don't let them dictate your actions. Instead of perceiving challenges as personal attacks, view them as opportunities to practice self-discipline. Every situation is a chance to strengthen your control. Sometimes the most commanding response is no response at all. When you refuse to react, you strip the other person of any power over you. Keep your focus on the larger picture. Ask yourself, will this still matter in a day, a week, a year? Most things don't deserve your energy. Reserve your reactions for the things that genuinely do. Self-control is not about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering them. It's about consciously choosing how you respond rather than being led by impulses. The more you practice this, the more formidable you become. The reality is, most people don't react because they consciously choose to react. They react because they lack the ability to do otherwise. Their emotions take over before logic has a chance to intervene. It happens in an instant. Someone says something offensive, something unexpected occurs, and before they can process it, they explode. Why? Because their mind has been programmed to react. From an early age, most individuals are conditioned to see instant reactions as normal. They grow up witnessing others get angry, yell, panic, and they absorb those same behaviors. The brain learns that emotional outbursts are the default response to discomfort, and over time, this habit becomes deeply ingrained. The reality is that impulsive reactions are not a mark of strength. They are a sign of emotional immaturity, a lack of discipline, and an absence of self-mastery. Truly powerful individuals do not function this way. They do not allow emotions to dictate their actions. They do not succumb to every passing impulse. Instead, they pause, they reflect, they respond with intention. The human brain consists of two parts: the battle for dominance, the emotional brain, and the logical brain. The emotional brain reacts first. It perceives a threat and fires back immediately. But the logical brain, the part that considers long-term consequences, needs time to process. That is why when people react instantly, they often regret it later. They say things they don't mean. They make poor decisions, and once the damage is done, there is no undoing it. But those who develop the discipline to pause before reacting access something more powerful. They allow their logical brain to take charge. They recognize that reacting is not an obligation, it is a choice. And when they choose not to react, they gain the upper hand. Because in the end, the one who remains calm during chaos, the one who refuses to let minor disruptions shake their focus, is the one who truly holds the power. Every impulsive reaction carries a cost that most people don't recognize until it's too late. It's not just about saying the wrong thing in the heat of the moment. It's about something far deeper, the damage done to your mind, your relationships, and your future. Overreacting erodes respect. People stop taking you seriously. They see you as unstable, someone who can be easily manipulated. If your emotions are easily provoked, others will use that against you. They will learn exactly how to control you simply by pressing the right buttons. The moment you become predictable, you become weak in their eyes. Overreacting also destroys inner peace. Have you noticed how exhausting it is to constantly be on edge, to react to everything? Your mind becomes a battlefield, constantly stressed, constantly drained. You waste precious energy on things that don't truly matter. You lose sight of what does. But the most devastating cost of all, the damage to your own self-discipline. Every impulsive reaction reinforces emotional weakness. The more you give in, the harder it is to break free. The mind becomes accustomed to reacting rather than thinking, and over time you lose the ability to pause, reflect, and make deliberate choices. But the opposite is also true. Every moment of restraint strengthens you. Each time you stay composed when others expect you to lose control, you cultivate discipline. You build resilience. And eventually, you become the kind of person who cannot be broken, no matter what happens around you. Because control is not something taken, it is something given away. And the moment you stop overreacting, you take it back. Most people assume that reacting immediately gives them dominance. They believe that arguing louder, responding faster, or expressing stronger emotions will help them maintain control. But this is an illusion, one that keeps them trapped in weakness. The reality is, when you react emotionally, you are not in control. You are being controlled. Your emotions dictate your actions. The situation dictates your behavior. The people around you, knowingly or unknowingly, are pulling the strings. But when you refuse to react, everything changes. The moment you master yourself, you master life. The most powerful individuals in the world are not the ones who raise their voices the most or respond the quickest, but those who remain composed while others lose control. They do not waste their energy on trivial battles, but instead choose their responses with precision. When you gain mastery over your reactions, you gain mastery over your life. The moment you stop reacting to everything, the world begins to respond to you. Staying calm is not merely about appearing composed externally. It is about training your mind to remain unwavering, regardless of the chaos around you. The key to this lies in understanding how your brain responds to stress. Under pressure, the brain's emotional center, the amygdala, becomes highly active, pushing you toward immediate reactions. In ancient times, this instinct was vital for survival when quick responses meant life or death. However, in modern society, this reaction often works against you. Instead of protecting you, it makes you impulsive, clouds your judgment with emotion, and compels you to act before thinking. There is, however, another part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, that governs logic, reasoning, and self-control. This is the area that leaders, strategists, and high achievers develop over time. The more you practice pausing before reacting, the stronger this part of your brain becomes, making it easier to maintain composure under stress. Every time you resist the urge to react impulsively, you rewire your brain. You create new mental pathways that make calmness your natural state. Instead of allowing emotions to dictate your actions, you develop the ability to perceive situations with clarity, think logically, and respond intelligently. The distinction between those who remain calm and those who do not is simple. One controls their mind, while the other is controlled by it. In a world where most people are enslaved by their emotions, the ability to remain calm becomes a rare and powerful skill. When you maintain your composure, you make wiser decisions, avoid manipulation, and retain the upper hand in any situation. Most importantly, you become the one who influences the world, rather than being shaped by it. Most people are prisoners of their emotions. They feel something and immediately act on it without question. But those who comprehend the strength of emotional detachment move differently. They do not get caught up in emotional storms. Instead, they step back, observe, and maintain control. Emotional detachment does not mean you do not experience emotions. It means you do not allow those emotions to dictate your actions. It means creating a gap between an event and your response, and within that gap lies your power. When you react emotionally, you become predictable. Others learn which buttons to press to make you angry, anxious, or desperate for validation. But when you cultivate emotional detachment, nothing unsettles you. If someone insults you, you do not take it personally. If something does not go as planned, you do not panic. You remain centered, clear-headed, and focused. This is why emotional detachment is one of the most valuable mental skills you can acquire. It allows you to navigate life without being controlled by external influences. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding with intention. You do not squander your energy on insignificant matters. You do not allow emotions to cloud your decisions. And the greatest advantage? When you detach, you gain leverage. In arguments, the one who remains calm always has the upper hand. In business, the one who does not let emotions dictate their decisions makes the most strategic choices. In life, the one who maintains a clear mind always prevails. The moment you stop letting emotions dictate your every move, you become unshakable. And when you are unshakable, nothing and no one can control you. Most people feel compelled to respond to everything. They argue, defend, explain, and attempt to prove their point, believing that speaking more equates to power. But true power does not reside in words. It resides in silence. Silence is often misunderstood. Many assume that remaining quiet is a sign of weakness, but in reality, silence is one of the most effective tools of control. When you do not react, you force others to question themselves. You make them uncomfortable. You create an air of mystery and authority without uttering a word. Consider this. When someone insults you and you remain silent, what happens? They lose their power. They anticipate a reaction, but when none comes, their words lose significance. They realize they cannot affect you. And this realization frustrates them more than any response ever could. Silence renders you unpredictable. When people cannot read you, they cannot control you. This alone grants you an advantage. When you stop reacting to trivial matters, you demonstrate that you operate on an entirely different level, untouched, unaffected, and above the noise. But silence is not merely about disregarding negativity. It is also about knowing when to speak. The more selective you are with your words, the more influence they carry. When you do finally speak, people pay attention because they understand that if you are speaking, it must be significant. This is why the most respected individuals do not waste their energy engaging in petty debates. They observe more, react less, and exert control without needing to prove anything. In the end, the one who remains silent possesses true power, while others squander theirs through constant reactions. Most people go through life enslaved by the opinions of others. They react to criticism, crave approval, and alter themselves just to fit in. However, those who grasp the essence of power do not function in this manner. They do not react to every opinion. They do not seek validation. They remain anchored in their own self-worth. The need for validation is one of the primary reasons people lose control. When you care excessively about what others think, you become emotionally vulnerable. A compliment lifts you up, while a criticism tears you down. You are no longer in charge of your emotions. Others are. But the moment you release the need for approval, everything shifts. You no longer feel compelled to defend yourself. You no longer explain your choices. You no longer react to disagreement. Instead, you move through life with quiet confidence, fully aware that your value is not defined by external opinions. The truth is, most judgments are irrelevant. People form opinions based on their own insecurities, biases, and limited understanding. If you allow their words to dictate your emotions, you will never truly live for yourself. You will only exist to satisfy others. Detaching from opinions is not arrogance, it is liberation. When you stop reacting to both praise and criticism, you attain a level of peace that most never experience. You no longer require permission to be yourself. You no longer need validation to feel worthy, and that is true power. The less you depend on external approval, the more authority you have over yourself. Instant reactions may feel powerful in the moment, but they ultimately reveal weakness. When you respond too quickly, people perceive you as impulsive, emotionally driven, and easy to manipulate. However, when you take time before responding, you project strength. You command respect. Why? Because silence before speaking conveys control. It indicates that you are not governed by urgency or emotion. It signals to others that you process information carefully, that your words are deliberate, and that you are not easily provoked. Notice how the most respected individuals rarely rush to respond. They pause, they listen, they allow tension to build, and when they finally speak, their words carry immense weight. People pay attention because they recognize that what is being said is worth listening to. Conversely, when you react too quickly, you relinquish your power. You reveal that you are emotionally driven rather than strategically composed. Quick reactions often result in regret, unnecessary conflict, and wasted energy. You say things you later wish you had not. You defend yourself when there is no need to. You let external forces dictate your emotions instead of maintaining control over them. Delaying your response does not mean ignoring others. It means choosing the optimal moment to speak. It means controlling your timing, your energy, and your influence. When you master this skill, you naturally shift how people perceive you. Because in any interaction, the one who dictates the pace dictates the conversation, and the one who dictates the conversation determines the outcome. In every situation, there are two types of individuals: those who command their emotions and those who are commanded by them. The first category leads, the second follows. The first influences, the second reacts. And the distinction between them lies in the ability to remain composed under pressure. Mastery over emotions is not about suppressing feelings, it is about controlling them. It is about recognizing that your first reaction is often your worst reaction. The strongest individual is not the one who yells the loudest, but the one who remains unshaken when others lose control. And once people recognize this, they will attempt to use it against you. Emotional control grants you leverage in every aspect of life, business, relationships, and conflict. It allows you to think with clarity when others are consumed by panic. It helps you base decisions on logic rather than impulse. Most importantly, it keeps you in command of yourself. In a world where the majority are ruled by their emotions, those who master their minds always rise above the rest. Nothing weakens a person more than being overly emotionally invested in everything. The constant need to prove a point, to defend, to be understood, it drains energy. But those who master the art of indifference become untouchable. Indifference does not mean a lack of care. It means selectively deciding what is worth your energy and what is not. It means refusing to be disturbed by things that do not add value to your life. Because the moment something gains control over your emotions, it gains control over you. Consider this: if someone insults you and you respond with anger, who truly won? Not you. You just provided them with proof that their words hold power over you. But if you remain indifferent, if you show that their words are meaningless, you win. Not by fighting, but by demonstrating that you are above it. Indifference is what separates the strong from the weak. The weak require constant validation, attention, approval, and reassurance. The strong, however, move in silence. They do not beg to be understood. They do not waste time proving their worth. They let their actions speak. When you stop reacting to negativity, people start respecting you. They begin to see you as someone who cannot be manipulated, someone who refuses to be drawn into pointless drama. Over time, they realize that you are the one in control, not them. Because in the end, the person who requires nothing from others, no validation, no reaction, no approval, holds the ultimate power. Emotional control is not an innate trait. It is a skill that must be trained, just like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. The key lies in rewiring your mind so that calmness becomes your natural state. The first step is awareness. Most people fail to recognize when they are reacting emotionally. They speak before thinking, act before processing, and regret it afterward. But when you start observing yourself, when you catch that crucial moment right before you react, you create space for change. That space is where control begins. The second step is the pause. Whenever you feel the urge to react, stop. Take a deep breath. Allow the moment to pass. This simple act weakens the impulse and strengthens your self-discipline. Over time, the pause becomes automatic, and reacting emotionally ceases to be your first instinct. The third step is detachment. Train yourself to see situations from a distance, as if you are an observer rather than a participant. Instead of being consumed by emotions, learn to simply notice them. Instead of being pulled into drama, take a step back. The less you personalize situations, the less power they hold over you. And finally, there is silence. Not everything warrants a response. Not every battle is worth fighting. When you learn to walk away instead of reacting, you display true power. You show that you are in control, not your emotions, not other people, not the circumstances around you. This is how you train yourself to stop reacting, by cultivating awareness, pausing, detaching, and embracing silence. The more you practice, the stronger you become. And one day you will realize that nothing, no insult, no opinion, no situation has the power to unsettle you anymore. Most people believe that winning requires fighting back, proving a point, or standing their ground. But the strongest response is often not to engage at all. Walking away is not an act of surrender. It is an act of power. It is choosing not to waste energy on things that do not deserve it. It is recognizing that not every conflict is worth engaging in, that some people, some arguments, and some situations are mere distractions meant to pull you down. The weak react to everything. They argue over trivial matters. They allow their egos to trap them in endless conflicts. But the strong conserve their energy. They refuse to fight battles that will not matter in a week, a month, or a year. They understand that their time, their focus, and their peace of mind are far too valuable to waste. When you walk away, you send an unmistakable message. I do not need to prove anything to anyone. And that unsettles people. They expect a reaction. They expect you to argue, explain, or justify yourself. But when you refuse to engage, when you simply move on, they are left powerless. This is why the most disciplined, the most successful, and the most respected individuals know when to remain silent and when to walk away. They do not allow emotions to lure them into meaningless battles. They choose growth over ego, peace over drama, and self-mastery over reaction, because in the end, the one who does not react, the one who does not engage, the one who simply walks away, is the one who holds true power. The more you cling to things, past mistakes, opinions, grudges, the heavier your life becomes. Most people suffer not because of what happens to them, but because they refuse to let go. They replay the same mistakes over and over in their minds. They hold on to anger. They seek closure that may never come. And in doing so, they trap themselves in their own suffering. But the truth is, letting go is freedom. It is choosing peace over unnecessary pain. It is refusing to let external factors dictate your emotions. Because the moment you release what no longer serves you, you reclaim your power. Consider this: every time you hold on to resentment, who suffers? Not the person who hurt you, not the situation that went wrong. You do. You are the one carrying the weight of emotions that drain your energy and cloud your mind. But when you choose to let go, you free yourself from burdens that were never worth carrying in the first place. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means deciding that your peace is more important than your pride. It means choosing to move forward rather than remaining stuck in what could have been. And the more you practice this, the lighter you become. Because real control is not about holding on. It is about knowing when to release. And once you master this, nothing, not the past, not other people, not even your own emotions, can hold power over you anymore. You become untouchable. At the core of everything, the reactions you control, the emotions you master, the silence you embrace, lies one fundamental truth. You are in charge of your life. Not your emotions, not other people, not external events, you. Most people go through life as slaves to their impulses. They react without thinking. They allow emotions to dictate their decisions. They let circumstances determine their mindset. But those who rise above this, those who take full control, become unstoppable. Mastering yourself does not mean being perfect. It means knowing that no matter what happens, you decide how you respond. Insults do not shake you. Criticism does not define you. Setbacks do not break you, because you have built an unshakable mindset. And here is the greatest truth of all. The less you react, the more control you have. The moment you stop allowing external forces to dictate your emotions, you become free. Free to think clearly, free to make the best decisions, free to focus on what truly matters. This is what sets leaders apart from followers, those who thrive from those who struggle. The ability to remain calm, to control emotions, to move with intention rather than reaction. And once you master this, life transforms. You no longer exist at the mercy of the world. You become the master of it.